Hey girl, hey! Welcome back to my channel. I'm Danesha of Classified Life, and today's video is my highly requested bow tutorial. But before we get into the tutorial, I want to take a moment to thank today's sponsor. Ana Luisa is a sustainable, high-quality jewelry brand, and I absolutely love their pieces. Before I get into the new pieces that I have, I want to talk about what I'm currently wearing. So I have on my ash double earrings, and I love these earrings because I can also remove the second one and just wear them as huggy hoops. And now let's check out what I recently picked up. First up, we have the Willow Layered Necklace. Now, I have been wanting a layered necklace for so long, but I've been trying to layer necklaces myself and they just don't really work. So I love that Ana Luisa had this one that already comes layered. I love this simple necklace, yet very detailed. You have the satellite going on one of them, and then just a normal chain on the other one with this very simple gold circle pendant. There's also 3 different lengths that you can wear this at. And here it is at its shortest length. I love that it's almost like a choker vibe, but I can also make it longer if I prefer. And then the next thing I picked up is the Arlo bracelet. And so it just slides on. I love that it's open and I don't have to worry about closing it on my wrist and worrying about the fit because it just slides right on, and you can widen it if necessary and kind of tighten it if you prefer. It's such a cute bracelet and it stacks really well with other jewelry as well as watches. And another thing I love about Ana Luisa is their packaging. Honestly, it's already gift ready and you can just skip the wrapping and gift the jewelry, okay? And during this sale, the more you buy, the more you save. I'm honestly scrolling myself trying to figure out what to add to cart next because you can just never have too much jewelry. Thank you, Ana Luisa, for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get into this bow tutorial. So today we're going to be talking about making this bow that I wore when I attended a tea party with this dress. Let me show y'all. Yeah, absolutely love the look. I also want to point out that this bow can be sized up or down. Recently, I've been seeing people make bows just like this, but extremely large for their Christmas trees. And you can take the same process of making this bow to make one for your Christmas tree. You can even size down and make smaller bows for other things like putting on your gifts, for packaging, whatever you want to use it for. This bow is literally the perfect bow. So let's get into the tutorial. I've already cut my fabric, but you will need either shears or a rotary cutter or just some really good scissors to cut your fabric. Then you need a marking tool, whether a marker, chalk. I also use washable Crayola markers, whatever you prefer, something to transfer some markings for our project. And then a loop turner or a safety pin, and honestly you might not need either because it'll be kind of wide enough to just kind of turn on its own, but a loop turner or safety pin will make it go a lot faster. And then a ruler because, well, we'll be measuring out our fabric and also doing some measurements while sewing. There will be a little bit of hand sewing, so you want to make sure that you have a needle as well. And then of course you'll need coordinating thread for your sewing machine. And then I'm also using my serger, but because I'm doing a rolled hem, I'll only need 3 cones for that. And it's actually already threaded, so that's why I have this 4th one here. And then if you're making this bow to be a hair clip, you're going to want to have this type of hair clip to attach to the bow. And I've linked everything below. You can find these on Amazon. And then I like to use sewing clips. So you'll either need pins or clips. So for this bow, you want to use a fabric that has a nice drape to it. I'm actually using a cotton sateen, but I highly recommend silky type fabrics as well. For the first piece, you want to measure 25 inches by 7 inches. Then you want a small square that's 4 inches by 4 inches. And then for our main drama, it's actually a really large triangle, and what I did was I measured 28 by 28 for a square, and then I cut it in half. So that way you'd end up with enough to make 2. And so these sides are 28 inches long. And then I'll measure the the middle section of the triangle for you all, or the bottom of the triangle. It measures out to be about 40 inches across. So if you want to cut just the triangle, you're going to do 28 inches by 28 inches by 40 inches, okay? We're going to go ahead and move the triangle and the small 4x4 square to the side, and we're going to start off with our rectangle piece that measures 25 inches by 7 inches. So the first thing you want to do is fold it with right sides together. I'm going to go ahead and put clips on mine. You're going to take it to your sewing machine and stitch at 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, so this is one of my favorite tools, and I feel like an easy cheat sheet for seam allowances. So I just line up wherever the seam allowance is supposed to fall with the needle. So I'm doing 3/8 of an inch, and I just line it up with the dot right here because I keep my needle in this position. And then you put the magnet right there, and so you keep your fabric lined up, the edge of your fabric, and your seam allowance will be 3/8 of an inch the entire way. Don't forget to back stitch at the beginning and the end. Have it 3/8 of an inch, and you're going to go ahead and turn this out and give it a good press. Same goes with your 4x4 square, 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Back stitch at the beginning and the end. All right, now I'm at the ironing station because after I go ahead and turn these to the right side, I'm going to give them a good press. I will show you where you want to line the seam up for pressing. You want to keep your seam in the middle. So we're going to press it like this. Same for this one. Reach in there and pull it out. All right, again, same with this one. You're going to keep the seam in the center and give it a press. All right, next we're going to get our marking tool, and I'm going to show you the markings that you need to make on your 25-inch by 7-inch piece. So first, you're going to fold it in half, and we want to mark right in here. So I'm just kind of reaching in and putting a dot. Then I'm going to open it out and connect my dots. Just grab your ruler. We want a straight line down the center. Just going to go ahead and go over that with some chalk just so I can make sure I can see it. Okay, so after you mark the center, we're going to fold it in half with, we'll call this the wrong side where our seam is, wrong side's facing, and you're going to measure from the folded edge 5 inches in. And transfer your marking, or I'm sorry, make your marking at the 5-inch. So where we made our marking 5 inches in, we're going to stitch there, and then once we have our stitch there, we will open it while we're still at the machine and fold this down, and we'll run another stitch right on top. I'll show you at the machine. All right, so we're back over at the machine. I'm going to go ahead and remove my seam gauge magnet because I won't need it right now. And again, we're going to back stitch at the beginning and the end, sewing straight down that line we made. All right, so once we've made that stitch, you're going to go ahead and open it out and open this one out, aligning that marking with the center, and we're going to stitch. Back stitch at the beginning and end. Alright, and now we have that stitch. You're going to take the back, fold it in, and stitch down that same stitch one more time to catch in the back ends of our bow. You just want a slight overlap at the back. And there we have it. Let's go back over to the table. So for this step, you'll need your hand sewing needle and your coordinating thread. Go ahead and thread your needle, and then we're going to work on this piece. All right, so once you have a knot at the end of your thread, we'll get started. You're going to take your needle, start at the bottom, work it through all layers of fabric, pull up, and then we're trying to create, let me show you the shape. So this is the shape you want to create for your bow. So I'm going to kind of go down into here. And this fabric is a little thicker, so I'm going to use this to help me. There we go. Push down, or you can use pliers if you have any. Jewelry pliers work just fine. I'm going to go back down through here and out So we have the basic shape, and then I'm going to take this and pull nice and taut and wrap. I'm going to wrap that bad boy around, bring it around town. Show you what I have so far. Beautiful bow. All right, and then you're going to just tie it off. I'm going to do it on the back, even though it doesn't matter, we will be covering up this section. I'm going to pause for a second to show you guys how we'll insert the clip. So here's the clip. This will be the part where you put your hair and then close it down. But this is the part where we want it attached, okay? You're going to open up, and then this middle portion does come out. Just carefully remove that and set it to the side. As we are pulling that around, I'm going to go ahead and attach this as well. So I'm going to just wrap it around a few more times. And I'm going to, just a few times, because we're going to put the fabric over here to really hold that in. I'm going to go ahead and tie it off with a few knots and cut my thread. All right, so we have that on there. We have our bow, and this will be the piece that will go around our bow. Now, working with your large triangle, we're going to do a rolled hem around all of the edges. Just to show you guys what it's looking like. All right, so now we're going to fold our fabric. This is the large triangle that was 40 inches by 28 inches on each of these sides. And we're gonna fold it in the style of like an accordion, okay? So I'm gonna turn this, have the long piece, the longest side closer to me. And, you know, go ahead and get these loose threads off. If you've picked up any threads on your fabric. Can also do this at the end, but all right, we're good. Good enough. So now you're going to fold. All right. It doesn't have to be perfect because you'll see what will happen, but we're going to go front, back, and then I'm just going to kind of flip it each way and keep folding. And I'm really just focusing on the middle section because the sides will just kind of naturally follow. And then same here, front, back, till we get to the end. And then here is where we're going to stitch this together in the same method that we did the bow. You're going to run the needle through, wrap it around. And this is what it'll look like when it falls. You'll get that bow effect. Ooh, it's already looking so good. So thread your needle one more time if you need to, or if you had enough left, just go ahead and grab that needle. And this might need some pliers. This is a lot of layers to get through if you're using a cotton sateen like myself, and then wrap it. I'm gonna go ahead and throw a clip on here so this doesn't undo my hard work. 2 clips because it is a lot of layers. All right, that'll do. Okay, so knotted at the end, and I'm gonna go ahead and remove my clips, pinch this back all together, make sure I got my, uh-oh, hold please, I think I lost, okay. All right, and
work this needle through. Oh, that was easy. All the layers. I'm going to go back and forth a few times before I start wrapping. That's a little, there we go. All right, so pretty much got the gist of the middle. Now I'm gonna pull tight and wrap it around. All right, that's pretty good. So I'm gonna knot it and tie it off. Three or four knots and we're good. All right, tie it off, and before I cut it, I'm gonna stop right there before I cut it. And I'm gonna go ahead and grab my bow. I'm going to place this right up under, hold it together, and I'm going to go ahead and use the rest and wrap. Just a few times so that the two are joined together, and then I'm going to go ahead and tie it off. Tie it off a few times and then cut. Okay, so we are at the last step. I went ahead and switched this to be a 4" by 7" piece, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to open this clip back up, and we're going to wrap this around, but you're going to actually have the seam facing out because we'll turn it under when we're done. And when you go to the machine, I would bring it around to the front of the bow so that you can avoid the clip and really get as tight as you can and sew a straight stitch. And if you prefer to get an even closer stitch, you can do a hand stitch and just hold it tight and use your hand sewing needle and stitch it that way. But I went ahead and did a machine stitch. It's a little wonky, but it'll do. Got as close as I could, and you're going to trim the excess. All right. Trim any loose threads you see. All right, and then we're going to keep flipping this middle piece. Again, I like to just fold mine in half. You can flip it all the way if you want a wider band. And then you're going to slide this part to the back, your seam. Just, you know, it takes a little patience and finagling. We get that to the back. And then our last step is to reattach this part of the clip, okay? And it actually goes up. And if you want more security, you can grab your hot glue gun and like place a dot of hot glue to keep it in place. But there we have it. You have your clip on there. And then I'm going to go ahead and fix the front of my bow. Let's get that all the way folded. My nails is making this a little more difficult. And I see some loose threads on the front, so I'm going to just go ahead and trim those. And there we have her. Two beautiful bows.